What's up guys, and welcome to another episode of El Jardín Perdido. Today, we're planting kiwi. All right, so I'm in Houston, Texas, zone 9A, and I have not had great luck with kiwi. But as you guys know, I like to push my growing zone. The problem with this growing zone is, yes, kiwi can be hardy down into freezes, but it's our extreme heat that is bad for them. So I'm not exactly sure of the variety. I have tried hardy kiwi that tend to be the little smaller ones, and no luck there. The problem with kiwis is they need a lot of sun, but our direct sun is very harsh. So proceed with caution. They're probably better a little higher up, not too high because they can't deal with a lot of frost, real hard freezes, but mine have fared pretty well throughout the winter. They're deciduous, they drop their leaves, they go dormant through the winter, kind of like grapevine would. And so that tends to work out a little higher up. It's just, I'm trying to balance where to grow these because they need some sunlight, but they, I need like filtered sunlight because our sun is so harsh down here. So it's just an ongoing experimentation. But anyway, I'm here to show you guys how to grow them from seed. We'll get started and I'll kind of walk you through the process, and I'll also show you some of the progress and the time span you can expect. Another little side note is that kiwis tend to need a male and a female, so you'll probably want to propagate quite a few of them, and that way you'll have options and you'll have a better chance. I'm pretty sure you'll want a few females and at least one male, but let's go check it out. All right guys, so I have a few things set up here. Of course, you will need a kiwi. Organic is definitely a plus. It just says green, New Zealand. So I'm not exactly sure of the cultivar here. I just have a few, some water and stuff. That's just part of cleaning out here. There's a little more space outside to work rather than in my kitchen. So basically I'm going to cut this, get some seeds out. I'll bring you guys in a little closer, but basically kind of separate them over a paper towel. You can also use a sieve. And what I like to do is keep them in a container with water at least overnight. First, just going to give it a nice slice. As you can see, there are plenty of seeds in there. We're gonna go ahead and scoop a bunch of those out, and I'm just gonna put them in the paper towel. Alternatively, I can show you what it looks like if you use a sieve. Kind of just up to you, but there's a lot of pulp in here. And essentially with the sieve, what you can do is kind of mash things through and see how much you can dilute with some water and kind of clean them up this way. And it doesn't do a bad job. Maybe you can start like that, but then ultimately, because they kind of have like a gel around them a little bit, I like to start using the paper towel here. And so as I'm working this, kind of reminding myself, probably does work well to use the sieve first. And then what I do is I just keep pushing them along the paper towel until they're all completely dry. And then you'll move them into another container. And this is where I let them soak overnight. And you can also see which seeds are more viable using this method, because if they're viable, they will sink, especially within a 24-hour period, up to 48, I would say. And then the ones that aren't viable will float, of course. So this one before the sieve, it might get a little messier. So yeah, you may want to use the sieve, get some of the pulp off, and then, like I said, I just like to wipe along the cloth until I get most of the pulp off. And so the more the merrier, considering that you do need a male and a female. I would try to propagate quite a few. So for demonstration, I'm just gonna fill this little bit we have up, and you'll see some of them float, some of them sink. Sometimes there may be a little bit of air around them or something, and eventually they will sink. That's another reason to give it the 24-hour period. From here, after you've let them soak for 24 to 48 hours, you can either do the paper towel method or you can plant them directly into soil. So if we were to directly plant them in the soil, I would have something like this. I'm just gonna wet this. I would always recommend pre-moistened soil. And you could probably even fill that up a little more, but I'm just gonna pour off some of these loose ones on top. And I have a few in my hand. This is kind of crass, but basically you'd be sprinkling these in. I'm just doing this for demonstration. I've already, which I'll show you in a minute, germinated a bunch. And the germination rate I have found is not that impressive. I'd say about 50%. Maybe that's just for me in particular, this cultivar, but I should have sifted this out a little more because there is a lot of twigs and stuff in this potting soil. I'm kind of recycling it, but basically you're just gonna sprinkle over about, I'd say 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. The smaller the seeds are, the less they want to be buried, so just kind of keep that in mind. I'm really just doing it so they stay moistened, they're out of the sun, and you probably don't want to have this in direct sun. I'll show you in a minute the little contraption I used, and then you'll just water these in. And to be honest, it'd probably be better to mist rather than pour water because those seeds are so tiny. You wouldn't want them getting washed away. But that's the gist. In a sec, I'll show you what a few weeks looks like and what I used. So I get turkey and stuff, like knock some of that condensation out. And what I do is I use the pretty airtight container. I drill holes in this one on the bottom, and then I have just something to catch any extra water. And so I have a little greenhouse here, and I haven't watered this at all. And you can see here, like I said, the germination rate isn't great. I would actually say this was probably like 35% germination rate. It's been a few weeks. We have true leaves appearing here, and so I don't expect any more to spring up necessarily. So yeah, I'd call this maybe like a 35% germination rate, but yeah, this is what you should expect in a few weeks. And what I did was just put this outside, but in heavy shade. And yeah, the warmth will tend to, and you can see by the direction of them, they're probably reaching for a little more sun. So I should probably get them a little closer to the sun now that they have their true leaves. And I'll probably take off the dome here personally, give it a few weeks until they leaf out a little more, and then I'll transplant them into separate containers. All right, so you guys got a pretty good gist on how to germinate them and stuff. Real quick, I'll go ahead and show you one. I had a few there. I think we're down to just one vine that's made it between some freezes we've had in the past couple years and the heat. I believe from seed, this vine is about maybe pushing on 3 years, and it's looking good. I know the first couple years it really struggled in this heat. So really its optimum growing happens in the spring and in the fall. In the heat, in our summers, it kind of just stands still. It doesn't do that much. Hasn't flowered yet. Can't decipher whether it's male or female, but I'll show you real quick. All right, so it's probably not ideal that I potted it right next to a grapevine, but I just didn't want it to get hacked or anything. But you can see it's suffered some damage here and there throughout the years. It kind of sprang off here. This part died, but we do have a bit of a vine here. This just reminded me of the fact that I can propagate this vine very easily, so I'm actually gonna do that, just not in this video. And so it's going up. Its leaves actually look a lot healthier than usual for the summer, but we do have a little burn here and there, and that's solely due to the intense heat here. But I do want to kind of trellis this up with the grapes. So you can see the grapevine is just awesome. All right guys, so that was my pretty quick run through of how to germinate and kind of start propagating kiwis. Let me know in the comments if you guys are in my growing zone 9A, 9B. Let me know if you have any success, or you know, give us some tips if you have any. As far as propagating the vine, really you're just cutting beneath a node, cutting off almost all the leaves except maybe the top few, and even halving them, plopping it in some water. Also let me know if you'd like a detailed video on that. I've done it with a few different vining plants with great success. All right guys, well that's gonna do it for today's video. As always, thanks for tuning in. Until next time.